It all started like any other high-energy episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live. The lights were bright, the crowd was loud, and Jimmy was riding the wave of his usual charm. But no one expected what would happen when Tom Cruise stepped onto that stage. Dressed sharply, Cruise smiled wide, waving to the audience like the Hollywood veteran he is. But beneath that trademark grin, there was a tension that few picked up on until the interview began. Kimmel made a cheeky remark about Cruise's reputation for doing his own stunts, joking about death wish energy. Tom laughed at first, but his eyes said otherwise. Kimmel then pivoted to Cruise's recent controversies surrounding his rumored clashes with directors and his influence on film sets. "You're not just a star," Kimmel joked, "you're like the director behind the director." Tom's smile tightened. "I take responsibility for what I do," he said sharply. "If I'm on set, I give it everything. I expect the same from everyone else." The crowd chuckled nervously, unsure if it was still banter. Kimmel tried to lighten the mood, but Cruise was clearly shifting from promotional mode to personal. That familiar Cruise intensity began to simmer just beneath the surface. Then came the tipping point. Kimmel brought up the leaked audio from a past film set where Cruise was heard yelling at crew members over COVID safety violations. "Passion's great, but do you think you crossed a line?" Jimmy asked, half serious. Cruise paused. His smile vanished. "No," he said firmly. "I didn't cross a line. I protected my crew and my industry when no one else would." The energy shifted instantly. Kimmel tried to respond with another joke, but Cruise cut him off. "This isn't a skit. This is my life's work," he said, voice controlled but icy. The crowd grew quiet. Tom leaned forward, locking eyes with Kimmel. "You bring people on here to poke fun, and I get it, it's your show. But don't mistake my passion for ego." Kimmel chuckled nervously, trying to pivot to a lighter subject. "Hey, I'm just saying people were surprised," he said. "People like gossip," Cruise shot back. "They always have. But that clip wasn't about anger. It was about saving an industry. Do you know how many jobs were on the line?" The audience didn't know how to react. Applause. Silence. This wasn't the Tom Cruise they expected. Jimmy then made the mistake of trying to joke about Scientology. "So, do you guys have here broken bar cosmic insurance for movie delays?" he quipped. The audience laughed, but Cruise didn't. His expression froze, and he sat back in his chair. "That's where you want to go?" he said, mocking something you don't understand. Kimmel raised his hands in defense. "Just a joke." But Cruise wasn't letting it slide. "You want a joke, Jimmy? Try telling that to people who've found real purpose in their lives. You don't have to agree with it, but don't disrespect it." The tension hit a peak. Kimmel tried to diffuse things with another segment of pulling out a fake Mission Impossible stunt demo. But Cruise didn't even look at the screen. "I don't need gimmicks," he said flatly. "I came here thinking we'd talk about film, about storytelling. Not tabloid garbage." Kimmel, visibly uncomfortable now, looked to the producers off stage. The laughter had stopped. Cruise leaned closer, voice calm but cutting. "You want to have a real conversation, let's have one. But I'm not here to be your punchline." The power dynamic had completely flipped. Kimmel's show was now Tom's stagia and he wasn't smiling. At this point, producers began to scramble. Some say they tried to signal for a break. But the cameras were still rolling, and Cruise wasn't done. He brought up the responsibility of late-night hosts to not just entertain, but to respect. "You shape public opinion with every joke. You know that?" he said. "You can choose to elevate or mock. And today, you chose mockery." Kimmel, red-faced, muttered something about not meaning harm. Cruise shook his head. "Intent doesn't erase impact," he said. The audience murmured, some nodding, others just stunned at how raw the conversation had become. Kimmel, trying to salvage the moment, offered Cruise a chance to talk about his upcoming film. But Tom wasn't interested anymore. "You had your chance," he said. "You wanted controversy. You got it." Then he stood up mid-interview. "No cue, no outro. just stood up, shook his head, and began walking off the stage. The audience gasped. Kimmel called after him, "Come on Tom, don't go like this," but Cruise didn't stop. "You don't get to control how people react to disrespect," he said as he disappeared off camera. The studio was left in stunned silence, the host speechless. After the broadcast, clips of the moment went viral. Hashtags like Tom vs. Kimmel and Cruise clash began trending instantly. Social media was split. Some felt Tom overreacted. Others praised him for standing up for himself. But nearly everyone agreed on one thing: it was one of the most intense live moments on late-night TV in years. Media outlets scrambled to cover the story. Headlines exploded as Cruise walks out, Kimmel showdown turned serious, and when late night got real. Some viewers said it was the first time they'd seen a celebrity call out the comedy machine so directly. Meanwhile, Cruise released a short statement through his rep. It read, "Tom values respect, truth, and authenticity." He felt those values were not present during his appearance. Kimmel, on the other hand, opened his next episode with an awkward acknowledgement. "Well, that didn't go as planned," he joked. But the tension was still fresh. Some accused him of inviting Cruise just to provoke him. Others defended him, saying it's a comedy show. But the larger conversation had started: where's the line between humor and humiliation? And who really controls that line when the guest isn't laughing? Industry insiders revealed that Cruise had been hesitant about doing late night in the first place. He was convinced to go on as a favor to promote the movie, one source said. But he warned Thema keep it about the work. Clearly, that boundary was crossed. Since then, Cruise hasn't appeared on any other late-night shows. Meanwhile, audience ratings for that particular episode skyrocketed. But not necessarily in a good way. Many tuned in not to laugh but to witness the train wreck. It became clear this wasn't a PR win for anyone. It was a moment that exposed the fault lines beneath the surface. In the days following, think pieces filled the internet. Was Cruise overly sensitive, or was he demanding a level of respect often denied to public figures? Was Kimmel being edgy, or just careless? That discussion revealed a deeper fatigue with media formats that treat serious people as mere fodder for comedy. One viral post read, "Maybe Tom didn't lose it, maybe we've lost the line between satire and smear." Others called Cruise's walkout the most grounded thing he's done. Either way, his actions sparked dialogue beyond celebrity gossip. It was about boundaries, dignity, and the price of performance. In the end, Tom Cruise walking off Jimmy Kimmel Live wasn't just a fiery TV moment, it was a cultural flashpoint. It reminded audiences that not every public figure is willing to laugh off misrepresentation, and not every stage is a safe space for unchecked mockery. Cruise didn't storm out. He stood up, made his case, and walked away with his dignity intact. And while Kimmel's crew tried to regain control, the damage was done. What started as an interview became a showdown, and for once, the Hollywood icon wasn't acting. He was simply being human. And that, it turns out, was the real headline.